If you want a steady flow of qualified mortgage leads from Facebook and Instagram, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you step by step how to create an ad that fills your calendars like this or this, and if you follow along, you can create this ad for yourself in less than 30 minutes. Stay till the end because I'll share the secret for how to actually convert leads from these ads into dollars for your business. Hi, if you're new here, my name is Jeff and I've run over 1,000 ads for my clients and I'm sharing all of my secrets for free so you can avoid all the mistakes that I made. Now let's dive right in. Now I'm assuming you already have an ad account and all you have to do is go to adsmanager.facebook.com to access your account. If you don't have one, watch my other video. I'll show you how to set one up. So we're going to talk about campaigns, ad sets, and also the ads themselves. I'm going to show you how to create a form. I'm going to show you how to create the ad, and then I'm going to show you how to optimize it. So let's talk about campaigns first. Go to this create button right here. And we're going to select for leads because that's our objective. We're going to look for leads. And I always go manual because I've tested recommended. It just doesn't get the results that we're looking for, even though it is easier. So manual gives you more customizability, which is always good. Now we're going to name this. And the reason this is important is because when we contact the leads, this is going to go into our CRM. We use Go High Level. You can use whatever you want, but you want to know where the lead came from so that you can have a better conversation. Because if you just generalize everything, you're going to get confused and you're not going to have the targeted conversation that you need to have. So for this client, they're running a home ownership program. And then I'm going to write in the area because this is also relevant. So they're in Canada in an area called Simcoe County. And you can see the lead campaign objective is here. I do not like to use Advantage campaign budget. What this does is it will distribute your budget into the ad sets that it believes, that its AI believes will give you the best results. The reason I don't like this is because I have to test different things, and this really limits your ability to test because what often happens is it will throw budget into one thing, and then you have to recreate another ad to test individual components anyways. So this kind of just messes things up for me. So I'm not going to select this. I'm going to show you how I'm going to test the ad sets my own way, and I found it to work better for local ads. Special ad category. This is extremely important. If you don't declare a special ad category for mortgages, for real estate, your ad will get banned. And if you do it enough times, your account could get banned. So this is super important. For mortgages, you can select either credit or housing. Honestly, either works. And I usually go with credit because it's just more applicable for mortgages. If you're doing real estate, obviously housing, but make sure you select this. This is very important. And just make sure you're selecting the right country. So this client is in Canada. This is right. So everything is set up in the campaigns. Now we're going to move on to the ad sets. So click next. So the ad set is all about targeting and where people are going to see your ads. So when I name this, I want to make sure that I understand what my target is. So I'm going to call this Simcoe County, and we're going to do Reels because we're going to create a short video. I'm going to show you exactly how to do this in Canva. And we're also going to create an instant form. So there is a lot of debate about what works better. Should I do a landing page, which is a website? Should I do an instant form? For us, because our clients have either an AI or a human appointment setter, we just found that instant forms works a little bit better. Yes, you do get more leads for cheaper. And yes, the quality is a little bit worse versus if you make them go to a landing page, because when you go to a landing page, there's more friction. So just naturally, people that want your service more are going to go through the friction. People that don't will not want to go through the friction of going to a website that's not in-app. But if you have an appointment setter anyways, then we just found this works better. So I'm going to show you how to create your instant form in a little bit. But first, let's go through everything else. You have to select the Facebook page here. but you have to also select the terms of service. So view the terms of service, go to agree, and then you're good there. Now, performance goal, I always just select maximize number of leads. You can select maximize number of conversion leads, but I just found this to work a little bit better. What this does is it makes you verify your information. So technically the lead quality should be a little bit better. But again, we have appointment setters, so we kind of filter out that way. So I just select maximize number of leads. Cost per result goal, I just leave blank. This is if you want to set a target for your cost per result goal, but I find it becomes very hard to actually set a monthly budget this way. Plus, I haven't really seen it improve my cost per result anyways, so I just leave it blank. For dynamic creative, you can leave this on, but I tend to leave it off because I like to have more control over what I test. So for dynamic creative, you can tell the AI to test multiple different images. So let's say you have 2 images, you can turn this on. The AI will then test the 2 images and allocate budget to the one that it thinks will do better. But the problem with this is it does it very quickly. So one of your images will have most of the spend and the other will have almost no traffic. So if you are curious which one does better and you don't trust the AI, which you shouldn't always, then you have to create a new ad anyways. So I just turned this off so that I can test better. Set your daily budget. This is really important. You don't want it to go too high. And if you want to set an end date, you can, but I don't, just because our team is managing this, every couple of days. So we don't really set an end date. And you can click this. Sometimes it's just a little glitched. So I leave this blank. If you think you're going to forget, I do recommend you set an end date. Budget scheduling, I leave that off. And this is really important. You want to set the location targeting. So in the last step, we had to declare a special housing category. And this is quite annoying, to be honest, because it does limit your targeting capabilities in a special category. But don't worry, because Facebook's algorithm has gotten better for special categories. So don't stress too much about, oh my God, I can't target the exact people I want, because the algorithm will take care of that over time. But it is kind of annoying because when we look for locations, we are quite limited because you have to target within a 15-mile radius. Luckily for mortgages, it doesn't matter that much because we are typically going state or province-wide because the programs apply to state and province-wide. So for this client, where he's located in Canada, specifically in Ontario, we don't want to have all of Canada. So we also don't want to have all of Ontario. And the reason for that is if I select Ontario, it's going to target the entire province that he's in. And this is a problem because the special programs that we're advertising are only applicable to one area. So even when you have lenders in Ontario, they often do not serve all cities equally. So for example, a lot of the major lenders in the Greater Toronto area where this person is, they will serve the main cities in Ontario, like London, Ontario, Waterloo, Ontario, but they will not serve the rural areas because it's just higher risk for them. So we have to make sure that we target the right area. So for him, I'm not going to select Ontario. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look for Simcoe, Ontario, which is where, sorry, this is the wrong Simcoe, so just make sure you select the right Simcoe. We're going to select this area right here. And this area is where the special program goes. So you see here, this 15-mile, you can't go less than 15 miles, unfortunately. And this is not good because for a more local service, this really hinders you. So for example, real estate agents, you do have to drive 15-mile radius. And under this location, it's people who live in or recently went to this location. So sometimes you have people that went there, saw your ad, left. So you might have people outside of this area as well. But generally, most of the time, they will be in this area. So I'm going to expand this a little bit just because the program goes to this general area over here. And you can drop a pin or you can select city. I like dropping a pin. You'll see here, you cannot change the age. You cannot change the gender. You can select detailed targeting. So for example, if I wanted to target first-time home buyers, I could target first-time home buyers or people looking for first-time home buyer grants. And what I've done is I've run thousands of ads and I've tested all of this. And I find going broad works fine now. In the past, I typically would do a test where I would create two different ad sets, one with specific targeting for first time home buyers, one for broad, and I would see which one works better. And I still recommend this. Not necessarily first time. It's just this program specifically is for first time buyers, which is why I'm saying that. But you can have specific interests, and I wouldn't stack too many interests. There's a lot of people out there, they'll stack like 6, 8 different interests, and it just doesn't work that well, at least from our tests. We found do maybe 1 or 2. You can test that versus broad, see which one does better, and just turn off the other one. So over here, I'm just going to show you exactly what I mean. I'll select this, and I'll call this first time homebuyer interests. So now I know this one is set for first time homebuyers, and later I'm going to duplicate it and run a broad one, and I'm going to see which one does better, because honestly it's not super consistent, and if you're worried about targeting, just go broad. Save yourself a little bit of time. So we're pretty much done here, but we need to do the major thing, which is make sure that the placements are done properly, because a lot of times they're going to tell you to go advantage plus placements. That's what they recommend. But I found that that is not true. I found better results doing manual placements. So the way that it breaks down is I always get rid of audience network. I've never gotten better results doing this. So I take that off automatically. And for videos, I turn off feeds. I turn off everything except stories and reels. We just found the best results for videos. If you're doing an image, I just do feeds. That's it. Feeds and marketplace. That's all. So image, feeds and marketplace, videos, stories, reels. Always get rid of audience network. That's what we've seen through our data to give you the best results. So I will just update this, or I already have with reels. And that way you'll remember, like, okay, this is the area, this is the placement, this is the targeting, and you'll be able to test a lot better if you name it properly. So that's targeting. Now we have to create the form. This is extremely important. So I'm going to create an instant form. In the next section, if you go to next, you need to name your ad. So what I named the ad is the actual, let me just get rid of this picture because this is an actual client. I always name the ad based on the offer and the image. So I can say Simco Home Program, ad 1, and then image, video 1. I never turned this on. Make sure you connect your Instagram account, and if you do images, you can do carousel. I just found single image tends to work pretty well. And now we have to create a form. So this is really important. The form is a part of your funnel, so don't slack on this. I'm just gonna, okay. So the form name, that's for us to know. I'm gonna call this homeowner program form. And I'm going with more volume instead of higher intent. Again, higher intent makes you review all the information at the end. So you can go with higher intent, but since we have inside sales agents, since we have AI that helps filter leads after they come in, I just go for more volume. And I'll show you a little hack to increase the lead quality. So I go to next. You can create your own intro, and you can set your own background image. If you don't, it's going to use the image from the ad. And I've tested both. Honestly, it doesn't make a huge difference. I just turn this off, and I always have a greeting. So the greeting should match the ad that we're doing. So in this case, we're going to say get access to this home ownership program, because that's exactly what we're advertising. And it needs to match your ad, or else there's going to be a disconnect and your conversion rate is going to drop. And then in your description, I usually just put just a couple of quick questions, just so they're not alarmed by what's going to happen. You can put some emojis if you want to. And then I go to next, and I'm going to set up some questions here. So the questions you add you ask, make sure that you ask a sufficient amount that you just don't get a bunch of junk quality leads. The trick that we figured out is if you have a bunch of multiple choice, people will just kind of blindly select one. But we typically ask people to put in something where they have to type an answer. And this will help with your lead quality a little bit because they've actually had to put in effort to complete this step. So I'm going to add a question. And it's going to be a short answer question. Now, how much would you like to buy your home for? And you can add more questions. I'm just going to add all the questions off screen. I don't want to waste your time because everyone's going to have different questions depending on what the program is. For mortgage, you're going to have different qualifying criteria. So for this home ownership program, I'm asking this because this is important to qualify. You have to buy a home for, I think it's less than 650,000 or something like that. So we want to know that. The other thing is over here in the pre-fill questions, you can add a phone number. And I typically go full name, email, phone number. We find that to be the best for conversion. Another trick is you can ask, what is the best number to reach you? And the reason this question works so well is because this information here is pre-filled. This is information that Facebook has from typically when you created your account. And if you're like me, and you created your account almost 20 years ago, then your phone number might have changed. So this is going to auto-populate. And a lot of people don't even see what information they selected. So you can ask this if you want to increase your lead quality. So it really is up to you. Now, I'm going to finish the rest of the form. I'm going to delete this for now. And I'm just going to go next. And this is important. You do have to put your privacy policy. So we're just going to get ours, and then we're going to post link text. I always just put privacy policy. And you just go to your website and grab the link and post it in here. So now that you have your privacy policy, click next. And this part is very important. So a lot of people just leave it as thanks, you're set. This is a big mistake because you want to make sure that they know what's happening. They know they're going to be contacted. So what we do is we always make sure that they know exactly what's going to happen. So I'm going to fill this out. Last step, big bold letters. And then you want to tell them what's going to happen. So book your pre-approval call. Click below to get started. And we're going to send them to a calendar. So again, we're using Go High Level. You can send them to your Calendly link, but basically you want to let them know that you're also going to be in touch. So this person is on AI, so we don't have an ISA, so we're just going to get them the book. So click below to get started. Add in your calendar link here, and then call to action is click here to get pre-approved. And that way they know, like, oh, I have to meet this person to actually get the deal. So I just pasted the URL there, and we're sending you a text now. Please respond and book your 5-minute pre-approval call. I usually just space things out just so it's not overcomplicated, and then go to create form. So now you'll see the form here. You just have to make sure the blue dot's selected, and you can actually preview your form here, and you're good to go. So the last step we need to do, and this is the most important part, is set up your actual ad itself. So I'm going to jump onto Canva to show you how we create a very simple ad and the theory behind why we created this particular ad. So I'm in Canva right now, and I just want to show you a basic template. It doesn't have to look like this. Honestly, it could look like anything you want, but I just want to walk you through why we're doing this. So the first thing you want to do is get their attention, right? So you don't say attention target, I'm just showing you a template, but it would be attention first-time home buyers in Simcoe County, for example, in this case. And then you want to tell them the benefit in as few words as possible. So this program gives you like I think $35,000 in a down payment assistance. So that is huge. And we want to highlight that, get approved today with a little arrow. And also you want this to be attention grabbing, right? So few words as possible, big, bold letters, different colors to grab their attention. And if you can, get a picture that is relevant to them. So if you're targeting someone in Simcoe County, Canada, then find a picture of Simcoe County, Canada. And the way you do that is you can type in a city. So let's say Barrie, Ontario. And there's all sorts of websites. I'm just using Canva because it's easy. But try to find a picture that is relative to them that might be recognizable. So, I'm going to do this off screen, but try to find something where if you go to Google and you type in Barrie, Ontario, which is a city in the Simcoe County, right? So you can kind of scroll through and see what the city looks like. Make sure you're getting pictures from the right city. So if you're not from there, like you want to make sure you do your research first, right? So there's all these pictures. You can kind of get an understanding of what Barrie looks like. And then when you get your picture, make sure it matches. Picture, I placed it as my background. I have this little down arrow. And the reason I have this is because when you create the ad, it's going to have your call to action at the bottom. I'll show you what that means later, but basically it's going to click to learn more. And you want them to obviously have a clear call to action. So this is the foundation. I'm going to create the ad and then we'll go back and actually start running the ad. All right, so we created our ad and now we want to add it to over here. So the headline is very important. The most important things about your ad are obviously the image to stop the scrolling. It just is there to grab the attention. A headline is typically a call to action that's very sweet and short. So we're going to put an emoji here, get approved for this program today, exclamation mark, grab their attention. And the primary text, most people don't even read past the first sentence because it doesn't show up on the ad past the first sentence unless they click it. So the first sentence needs to be very compelling. Everything after can be there to explain it. And a call to action, I don't know why, but learn more just tends to get the best cost per lead. Not sure why. Maybe it's just the least imposing, but I just always go with learn more as a default. So the primary text, let's talk about how to create something engaging. The very, very first thing you want to do is call out your target lead. So this will be Simcoe County renters, or you could go with Simcoe County first-time home buyers, but you want to call them out. And typically I'll put something eye-catching. You can put an emoji here. And then you want to talk directly about the benefit, very sweet and short. Get access to 50 in down payment assistance before funding runs out. So this is an example of something that is short and sweet, calls it out, gets right to the point. What's the benefit to them? And then this is kind of just cherry on top. And it's actually true because this program, it could run out of funding very quickly. So it's got urgency to it. It's like, hey, you can get this money and you better be quick. And this is for you. So this is an example of a very strong first sentence. Everything after, they probably are not going to read, but this is where we go into what the program is, who's it for, what are the benefits, and then at the very end, you want to have something like click here or click learn more, because this is our call to action to get started or get approved. So again, very, very clear call to action. You could put an emoji here. The things in the middle, this is really going to depend on your program itself. But typically, I would put who is this for, how does it work, and some basic information that they'll want to know, just so you can qualify them a little bit. You don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry to click on your ad. So you can say like this is only for you if X, Y, Z. So this is where I would put that. I'm not going to bore you with this specific program, but make sure that you have some qualifying information and some basic details here to get them excited about it, and also let them know if this is not for them. And last little detail, in some areas like where this client is, you have to put their name, their title, so mortgage agent, and then their level in Ontario. It's kind of weird. And you also have to put their broker's license number. So if you have requirements, just make sure that you understand your local requirements and you put that in there. All right, so now we have to add the media that we made in Canva. So add video. I'm going to upload it. And then click next. It says 9:16 recommended. This is already 9:16, so I'm just gonna go to next, and it will tell you to optimize it. You can see like what optimizations they're gonna make, but I'll just go to done. So now you can preview your ad. You have the image here, you have the text, you have the headline, and one thing to note is you can actually add different headlines just to test. But I've already tried this, so I know this one works. But if you're new, you can test different headlines, you can test different primary text, and let the algorithm decide which one's the best. So now we have our ad set up, but it's giving us an error, so make sure you add your phone number. I did it off screen because I don't want everyone to have my phone number. And now we go to publish. So it's going to ask you about tax information. You can skip that. Just know that if you run a business, all of this is tax deductible, by the way, so don't lose out on that. So you're done. Now, everything that I showed you here, you can replicate for all of your ads. And just remember, the main thing that you want to make sure is you want to make sure you're running a very specifically targeted ad with a good offer and an image that stops people scrolling. If you do those things, you can make ads work. But just know that running ads, yes, you will get a consistent flow of leads, but you do have to monitor them because they can fatigue very quickly, especially if you're targeting a pretty small area. So watch my other videos on how to optimize ads. And here's the biggest pro tip of them all. Everyone thinks that running the ads is what's going to make your business successful. It will give you a steady flow of leads. It will give you something that you can scale. But if you don't have a good sales process and you don't have a good intake process or nurture process to follow up, then online leads honestly is not for you. So if you want to learn how to actually convert the leads into people that trust you with the biggest investment of their life, watch my other video because that is 90% of the work. The ads only get you so far. You have to actually nurture and convert these people over time. So this is extremely important. Make sure you watch this video. Hope this helps.